Grace and Glory Lutheran Church, our first 25 years. On February 11th, 2001, we held our first worship service in the Armstrong Fitness Center, located in Crofton Plaza. Gathered together in the exercise room were 53 people, with Pastor Bill Stewart presiding. He commented that we're building a church now. We'll build the building later. As a retired pastor, he had agreed to be a half-time pastor while the church got started. On the other Sundays, a variety of supplier pastors presided, though it was Reverend Bud Coyner from Lynchburg who most often served until the summer of 2005. Grace and Glory was actually started as an ecumenical church with 3 pastors alternating each Sunday: Lutheran, Episcopalian with Reverend Bill Lyon, and Presbyterian with Reverend Virginia Martin. This continued until 2006, when it became apparent that it was not going to work having the 3 denominations. Because the service was held in the exercise room, everyone had to bring their own chair, and everything had to be set up each week before the service began. The services were done in PowerPoint and projected on a portable screen. With all the mirrors on the walls, it looked like we had a rather nice-sized congregation. Barbara Haas served as our pianist and started a choir, which met every week in the guest bedroom of their home. Of course, before the first service could happen, many gatherings were held, starting in the summer of 2000. They included potlucks held at Salem United Methodist Church, as well as discussions with the Virginia Synod on how to start a mission congregation. Grace and Glory was different in that it was the congregation requesting that a mission church be founded, rather than the Synod initiating it. Pastor Stewart, along with Reverend Hank Boshin from the ELCA, shepherded us on our way as we worked to get a new church started. Sue Pickett was the main driving force, but many people were involved. Most were from Lake Monticello and wanted a Lutheran church closer than St. Mark in Charlottesville. The first newsletter was put together by Lee Moyer, who has continued to produce them all these years. Early ministries at this time included a women's group Bible study, small dinner groups, the food pantry, a traveling singing group that went monthly to a nursing home in Fork Union, and the Fulana Christian Service Society, which included Happy Face. The next year, in November 2002, Jean DeMarco spearheaded our Becoming a Bread for the World Covenant Church, supporting them financially and writing letters for many years to our federal legislators to support bills which help lift people out of poverty. Sometimes we generated as many as 120 letters. In 2003, our prison ministry started, with members volunteering at the library there, collecting toilet articles and cards for Christmas. By 2004, the fitness center became too small to hold the congregation, so the church then moved on February 1st to the multipurpose auditorium and lunchroom of Fulana Middle School, where we had a lot more space. There was also a good supply of chairs, so people no longer had to bring their own. However, the setup, including arranging the chairs as well as the altar, projection system, and sound systems, took a lot longer. Sunday school classes were held before the service using a couple of classrooms and the library. Julie Martell started to lead the children's Sunday school and music program, eventually becoming our music director. In 2004, We also rented our first office space in the trailer next to E.W. Thomas. It was used for the usual office functions, as well as for leadership team meetings, choir practice, Bible studies, and even an annual chili cook-off, which Bob Candia organized. But most of all, in 2004, we were particularly excited to have found and managed to purchase the 10-acre plot of land for our future church building on Route 53, right opposite the new county library at Pleasant Grove. Joe Schaefer then spearheaded our starting to participate in the Adopt a Highway program, picking up lots of litter along the highway adjacent to the future home of our church. In 2005, we started to participate in the Advocacy Day of the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, which takes place in Richmond during the state legislative session. It was wonderful having the opportunity to meet directly with our delegates and senators. Unfortunately, COVID and then inclement weather has sometimes made that more difficult. Our church encourages active involvement in social justice issues and advocacy by congregational members. In March this year, 5 of our members participated in the procession on the downtown mall to support our immigrant neighbors as part of the Love Thy Neighbor movement. As time went on, our church grew to the point where we were able to call our first full-time pastor. Pastor Kenneth Albright arrived in the summer of 2006 and was formally installed on August 27th. Pastor Stewart, Bill Lyon, and Ginny Martin all participated, as well as Paul St. Clair. Judy Lyon headed up our nursery, and there were 18 adults involved in teaching Sunday school classes. At this time, we also managed to rent a very nice and much bigger office space at Hayden Place. We started a prayer shawl ministry and a quilting ministry. In October, we participated in Old Farm Day, selling baked goods, craft items, and plants at our booth. The following year, in 2007, we became a fair trade church, using fair trade coffee and tea for church events, and having fair trade sales several times a year, as we did recently. We also have had Christmas fair trade handcraft sales 4 times. Particularly delightful in 2007, though, was the beginning of the Bell Choir under the direction of Julie Martell. We were most thankful for the very special donation of the bells to our church. In 2008, we hired our first part-time office assistant, and we were fortunate to have Gabby Desch with us for 9 years. That fall was the first of several years to glean apples at Fruit Hill Apple Orchard, from which we were able to donate as many as 45 bags of apples to the food bank. In 2009, we started sharing the Lenten soup suppers with the Methodist churches in the area. We also began using fair trade echo palms, supported by Lutheran World Relief, for Palm Sunday. They are harvested in a sustainable manner that allows for the plant to keep growing, and the profits go directly to the harvester. Echo palms allow us to celebrate in a way that protects God's creation and enables small farmers to support themselves. In January of 2010, we became a covenant church for Habitat for Humanity and gave them a check for over $800. In addition, over the years, a number of our members have been involved in helping build houses and provide lunches for them. In February of 2010, the youth group participated in a World Vision 30-hour famine with another church, and then that summer made the first of several mission trips to Hurley, Virginia, where they helped repair roofs, build steps, as well as building relationships with the people of this rural Appalachian coal mining town. Finally, on August 7th, 2011, we broke ground for our church at a special ceremony with 150 people in attendance, including Bishop Mowney and Assistant Bishop Chip Gunston. Led by a multi-generational handbell choir, all joined in singing the moving hymn, "All Are Welcome." When black clouds suddenly moved in and lightning appeared, everyone made a dash to the Atlantic County Library across the street to complete the ceremony. Construction of the church took the whole next year. In July of 2012, the youth group went to the National Youth Gathering in New Orleans, where their days were filled with the music of contemporary Christian songs and speakers telling their powerful stories. They were inspired to always try to make the world a better place by doing whatever you can, whenever you can, and however you can, no matter how small that may be. After a year of construction, we were finally able to have our first service in the new building on August 26, 2012. A month later, a special dedication service was held, which more than 250 people attended, including Bishop Mowney. Two very special quilts depicting the symbols of grace and glory were hung in the narthex above the entrance to our sanctuary. In addition, Jan Crowther gifted the church with a beautiful pottery communion set she had made, embossing some of the pieces with the logo of the church dove. That November, we started to offer Thomas Place on Sunday evenings as a safe place for folks to express doubts and ask questions about their faith or lack thereof. After having been a member for many years, Reverend Paul St. Clair was hired in March 2013 as a pastoral assistant. He was a great help and focused on our educational ministry, including being a small group leader for the ACTS program. That summer, we offered our first vacation Bible school to the community. 4 years later, in September, Pastor St. Clair received a call to serve a Lutheran church in Statesville, North Carolina. 2013 was another big year for our youth when some of them participated in winter celebration at Roanoke College. Then that summer, 18 of our youth and adults participated with other churches in a mission trip to Haiti to repair an orphanage which had been damaged in the earthquake of 2010. That fall, the Evangelism Committee erected a peace pole which states, "Let peace prevail on earth," in 8 different languages. A couple of years later, Cameron Odell created a lovely prayer garden around it for his Eagle Scout project. In our sanctuary, the 2 beautiful green pyramids that adorn the church during the season of Epiphany and Pentecost were created by Helen Post. Also, in 2013, Julie Martell completed the 3-year leadership program for musicians that she had been taking on how to use music as a tool for teaching God's Word. Music can indeed often speak to the heart, even more clearly than any read text or spoken sermon. Those are the beautiful communion set that Jan Crowther made. And it's embossed with the dove. And there we have about the music and Julie Martell, our music director. In the summer of 2014, Jan Crowther organized our participation every month for 4 years with the Interfaith Humanitarian Sanctum in assembling food packets to support families of indigent patients at UVA Hospital. Another outreach in 2014 were the Christmas greeting cards that were sent with messages of hope to immigrant families feeling isolated and hopeless while being held in detention in Texas and New Mexico. This program was sponsored by the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. In November 2014, the Stained Glass Window Project was approved with a generous donation from Denny and Nancy Avers for the main front window and the window with Martin Luther's seal. Throughout 2015, many members contributed a window or donated to one of the windows. One month, the 5Gs, now called Owls, visited Wayne Kane Architectural Art Glass Workshop in Bremo Bluff to see how they were being crafted. By November, all of the stained glass windows were finished and installed. They were dedicated as part of the Epiphany service in January 2016. Thanks to them, the sanctuary is filled with images of God's grace and glory danced throughout the worship space. On Wednesday mornings, area pastors gathered to sing and study together the upcoming Sunday's readings. On March 22nd of 2015, the group went public with a concert at Grace and Glory of old-time gospel songs. In August, we began donating backpacks and school supplies for Fluvanna County students. In November, some of our members went on a mission trip to Georgetown, South Carolina, to help residents of that flood-ravaged coastal town begin the process of rebuilding their homes and their lives, one board, one room, and one house at a time. In 2017, the picnic pavilion was added in the yard behind the church. It has been used for many events. That September, following Walt Better's idea, Dave Worth organized our first Feeding Fluvanna Community Day, at which we raised over $4,000 for the food bank. With many booths and activities, a good time was had by all, including even dunking our pastor. The following year, on August 6, 2018, Pastor Ken presided at his last service at Grace and Glory. The Reverend Sandy Wisco served as our interim pastor for almost a year until Pastor Meredith Williams accepted our call in July 2019. She was installed on September 28th. Our present choir director, Rebecca Woolis, had started that summer in June, joining our soloist, Teresa Scruggs. We thoroughly enjoy the outstanding preludes that Rebecca plays on the grand piano Bob Pickett gifted to the church, and her wonderful direction of the choir. In addition, Helenita Moyer started adding native perennials to the garden of zinnias and marigolds she had put in along the front walk. In 2020, many beautiful quilts made by members of our church and our community were donated to Lutheran World Relief. Unfortunately, starting in March 2020, due to COVID, services had to be held online and in the parking lot on Sundays, with a Bible study online Thursday mornings. In 2022, we started having blood drives at our church several times a year. In 2023, our office manager, Liz Lang, left, but we were fortunate to have Cindy Anderson coming, and she has been doing a really great job for us. Also, Pastor Meredith accepted another call and left Grace and Glory in April. In November, Reverend William Strong became our permanent interim pastor, bringing a new depth of spirituality to our service, including quiet, reflective moments. He encouraged us to be welcoming by sponsoring a special workshop on hospitality and using the inclusive Iona invitation to communion. His seminar on aging was well attended and much appreciated. The Bible study he started on Luke was enlightening and gave us a deeper knowledge of the gospel. He has a very special gift of being present with people whenever they need him. We are very thankful for the great care he took of our congregation and the insightful and inspiring sermons he preached. Pastor William is loved and will very much be missed. During this time, we were fortunate to have as supply pastors Pat Handelson, Tom Frost, and Liz Yates. In 2024, we continued our practice of having an Easter sunrise service. That summer, we had our first pie auction organized by Stephanie Worth to raise money for the food bank. We have very much been blessed these past 25 years and now look forward to continue serving the community in the next 25 years. We welcome the Reverend Lou Florio as the faithful shepherd who will care for our congregation and equip us to be disciples of Christ, sharing his love in all our ministries. Thank you. Thank you for that first 25 years.